greatest sports debate show on the internet.
Jalen Carter does not dive for his knee.
He grabbed his knee, though, which was
a dirty play. That was a football play.
You don't get to talk anymore.
Football play.
You don't get to talk anymore, sir.
Championship rings, starring Brandon Lewis.
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions, and welcome to Championship Rings.
And Josh Ungar.
Buddy. So, who was right about the Indiana Pacers making it to the conference finals?
Well, let's see. Jalen Brunson gets hurt, and Alex Burke gets hurt, and Mitchell Robinson gets hurt, and Josh Hart gets hurt. You have the easiest road to the Eastern Conference Finals this side of the Boston Celtics. So, were you right, or was it the NBA gods saying, let Josh Ungar be the only person in the world to pick the Indiana Pacers?
Nope, I was right from the beginning.
Begin now.
Hey, by the way,
go ahead, Josh.
By the way, not only was I the only one that picked the Indiana Pacers to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but wasn't I the one who picked the Denver Broncos to get to the playoffs?
Yeah. You were. That was the NFL season. This is the NBA playoffs, and this is WrestleMania season. Here we go. This is one of our biggest shows of the year. Now, last week, we did tease a friend of the show, Jalen Sandvik, was going to be on for this NBA playoff segment. Unfortunately, Jalen had a weight conflict, so Jalen will be here next week to help us break down what we saw at the first round of the playoffs, plus WrestleMania, plus the NFL draft. We've already talked about the huge couple of shows coming up. Josh, we got 2 play-in games tonight, 2 play-in games tomorrow, 2 play-in games on Friday, and then the whole thing starts on Saturday.
That is correct. Actually, before we get into the NBA playoffs, can we just talk about the disaster that is the Phoenix Suns for a minute?
What are you trying to do, hijack the show already? First you hijacked the intro, now you're hijacking the first segment. What are we doing here?
Because think about this. They hired Mike Budenholzer, and he's gone after 1 season. What the hell is going on in Phoenix?
They're a complete mess. We'll find out, obviously, what happens with Kevin Durant. But I do want to get to the playoffs because SeaBoss is going to be here in approximately 35 minutes. So I guess we'll start with the play-in tournament games tonight. First one, Atlanta, Orlando. Second one, Memphis, Golden State. After Golden State and the Clippers had that tremendous game on Sunday and Golden State fell short, now they cannot play the Lakers until at least the semifinals. That's if they get past Houston tonight. My general feeling with the play-in games is, it's a 1-game tournament. Obviously anything can happen, a lot like March Madness. But in my opinion, at least out east, whoever wins these games are irrelevant. They're going to be smashed in the first round. So I'll just go with the home teams in the Magic and the Bulls, and then I will take Atlanta over Chicago. So I have Orlando as the 7. I have Atlanta as the 8. Out west, I'll do the same thing. Give me Golden State tonight to bounce back. I think for all intents and purposes, Golden State season's on the line because they cannot win a 7-game series against Oklahoma City. I think they defend home court. I don't really care who wins Sacramento or Dallas. I don't think either one of them have a chance to beat either Golden State or Memphis. So I have Memphis going to OKC, and I have Golden State going to Houston.
Okay. So I have Atlanta beating Orlando tonight and heading to Boston. Then I've got Orlando facing Chicago to see who will face us. And I've got the Magic setting up a rematch between us and the Magic, just like last year. As for the Western Conference, I think Ja Morant's status as a superstar is on the line tonight. I really do. Because you think about it. You got guys like SGA, Jokic, Anthony Edwards, Luka, who are, and all the cats in Houston, Amen Thompson is going to become a superstar. You can just tell. I love Jalen Green, so Houston's got some cats. So you've got all these guys who are definitively in the playoffs. John Morant is not. He has to go through the play-in tournament. And who's on the other side? Steph Curry. So, Ja, you want to prove you're a superstar? You got to win this game. Otherwise, me personally, I'm removing that superstar status from you.
I don't think he's a superstar right now. I think he's a very good player. For the record, to be clear, I think there's only about 5 superstars in the league.
And they're all in the Western Conference?
Actually, yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Maybe one is in the East. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see how the playoffs turn out. So, do you have Golden State winning tonight? You never officially said.
Yes, I do have the Warriors going to, and they will face Houston. And then Memphis will smash either Dallas or Sacramento. Doesn't really matter.
Okay, so the West we agree on. The East we're basically flip-flopping 8 and 7, which is fine by me.
Yes.
So let's get into the first round. The way we're going to do this, we're going to do the entire East first, because I think the East is more simple than the West. And then we'll get into the West, and then we'll see who meets who in the finals. Let's start with the first round. We're going to start up top, move our way down. Number 1 seed. So I have Cleveland against Atlanta. You have Cleveland against Orlando. I actually think your matchup is an easier matchup for the Cavs because I don't think Orlando can shoot. And I think that either way, the Cavs will sweep whoever. I think the Cavs are going to make a statement. I think that the playoffs are a 4-game series in a 7-game span that you have to win 4 out of 7. I think the playoff rules of them allowing more physicality, you not getting the whistle, that benefits Cleveland over Atlanta. I think you can rough up Trae Young a lot. And Atlanta's got some nice players, including Karis LeVert and George Niang. But us getting DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta at the trade deadline in that deal, I think is significant. I think Atlanta may give you a tough game 3 or 4 at home, but I think at the end of the day, the Cavs just have the overall better team. They will beat Atlanta in 4.
So with Orlando has given us trouble a little bit this season. But for the most part, we took care of them, and we know it went to all the way to a game 7 last year. Maybe part of that was because of your favorite head coach, JB Bickerstaff, although he's doing a great job in Detroit, so you got to give him his credit.
I wouldn't use the word great.
I was being a little bit sarcastic. Okay, I'll get to this
We're
now.
about to get to the Pistons, so.
Okay, I'll save it for then. But do I think it goes to a game 7? No. But I do think Orlando could push us to maybe a game 5, possibly a game 6. But
I'd be willing to bet whatever Dr. Pepper you want to put on the line. If it is Orlando, it will not get to a game 6.
That's why I said possibly a game 6. But
I think those two teams are completely different than what they were a year ago. I think the Cavs upgraded in coaching, and I think Orlando actually got worse. Some of that has to do with injury, but they're actually a worse shooting team this year than they were a year ago. The Cavs are a better shooting team than they were a year ago. A healthy Jared Allen in this series would also make a big difference. I think no matter what, the Cavs will sweep whoever is the 7 or 8.
I have the Cavs in 5 against Orlando.
Okay, so let's go then to the 2 seed. So I have Celtics Magic, you have Celtics Hawks. I don't think this one matters either. I think the same fate will spell the winner of the play-in tournament. I think Boston will outshoot them. They will shoot 63s a game. They will dominate defensively, and this will be, in my opinion, a 4-game clean sweep across the board.
Again, I have to give Atlanta at least 1 game. Not because I don't think Boston is capable of sweeping them, but Trae Young has given Boston problems in the past. I know it's like a different team and all that, but I'm not just going to discount Trae Young like that. So I'll give Atlanta game 4 to avoid getting swept. Series goes back to Boston. Celtics take care of business.
See, I actually think if Atlanta's going to steal a game, it would be game 1 or game 2 in Boston. Because the Celtics historically in this era with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and this season, they've actually been a better road team than a home team. And sometimes they lose focus. And I feel like if you're Atlanta, if you're going to give yourself a fight in a series against a shooting team like Boston, you feel like you got to steal the first 2. One of the first 2, I should say.
Okay. I could see that. Atlanta has had success in Boston in the playoffs. We've seen that. And Boston last season, they lost at least one home game in every series until they played Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Historically, in this era, they have been a better road team than a home team in the postseason. And that's dating back to when Tatum and Brown got together in 17-18. So all the way through these runs. Listen, whoever wins this next series between the Knicks and Pistons are going to get annihilated by Boston. So it really doesn't matter. I think Detroit's been a nice story, but I think their story ends here. We saw JB Bickerstaff get worked in coaching by Tom Thibodeau 2 years ago when the Knicks faced off what, in my opinion, was a better Cavs team than this Detroit team and beat them in 5 games. I'll be nice and I'll say Bickerstaff finds a way to get 1 game. I think the Knicks are a flawed team, but I don't think this is a close matchup. I think Detroit is a nice story, but nice stories end in the postseason. Give me Knicks in 5.
I got Knicks in 6. I think the Pistons are a very dangerous team. Would it surprise me if they pulled off the win ultimately in this series? No, it would not. Cade Cunningham has played really well against the Knicks this season. I believe he's averaged over 30. And you can just tell Detroit is putting it together at the right time. And I don't like how the Knicks are playing down the stretch. I really don't. The way they blew that 23-point lead against us.
Without Donovan Mitchell, by the way. And here's the thing. The Knicks are 0-8 against the Celtics and Cavs this year, but they've only lost 9 games against the rest of the Eastern Conference.
I believe I believe against the Thunder, the Pistons, the Celtics, and the Cavs, they're 1-11. If I remember.
So they can beat everybody else but the great teams in the league, essentially. Listen, I think Jalen Brunson's the best player in the series.
I don't know about that.
I think he is, and I think Karl-Anthony Towns is the second best player in the series. Can Cade Cunningham have the greatest playoff series for the Pistons in the last 20 years? Maybe, but I think in the playoffs, when you get down to strategy and strategic and defense, Thibodeau has an edge to me over Bickerstaff, and that's the difference in the series. I think the Knicks have more experience and they have better players.
I think when you look at the Pistons, they're kind of playing like the 04 team did when they won the championship. They're kind of playing like the bad boys back in the day.
But that team was a top seed. That team wasn't a 6th seed in the Eastern Conference.
That part is true. I'm just saying they're playing like that. I'm not saying they are that team, but the way they're playing right now, you look at their style, this is not going to be a series for the faint of heart.
If you like defense and rebounding, this is the series for you.
I got Knicks in 6, but would it surprise me if Detroit ultimately wins the series? No.
So up to this point, in my opinion, the Eastern Conference is basically going to be a cakewalk. There's only one good series in the East in the first round, in my opinion, which is Milwaukee and Indiana. And this is a very interesting series because Indiana, they are the 4th seed, though you do feel like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was that one-ish superstar player I was alluding to. If you want to make a case for him in the East, you can. The problem is he has not been healthy for the last two postseasons. And this year, he's going to be without Damian Lillard, who may or may not be back for the postseason, but at least for this series, sounds like he's a no-go. My question is, outside of Giannis, who does Milwaukee have? Brook Lopez, nice player. Bobby Portis, nice player. Kevin Porter, nice player. But do they have anybody who can consistently come along for the ride with Giannis? This is a first-round matchup last year where Milwaukee, without Giannis, did take Indiana to 6. But for whatever reason, the Pacers and Rick Carlisle do feel like a team with Halliburton, Siakam, and Turner, where they can get a lot of production. Don't forget about Andrew Nembhard off the bench as well.
And Neesmith as well.
Neesmith, absolutely. So I actually think this is by far the best series in the first round in the East. I think it's the same thing as last year. I think Indiana in 6.
I'm going to go with the Pacers, but I actually have Milwaukee pushing this to a Game 7. Somehow, some way, this goes to a Game 7. Indiana wins it.
To me, I mean, what does it say about Giannis, as we've talked about, right? The last couple of years, he's been, ever since winning the championship, he was in the conversation for the best player in the world. And for whatever reason, the last few years, he's been hurt in the postseason, or the team just hasn't been as good. And so we both have Cleveland against Indiana in the second round, as well as the Boston and the Knicks. And let's start with the 1 versus 4. Let's start with the Cavs and Pacers. I respect Indiana after what they did last year and made the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think part of that is having to do with the Knicks suffering all those injuries in the second round. Indiana can shoot, and they have bigs that can match up with Cleveland. The problem is they just cannot do so as effectively. Indiana is a little bit of a problematic matchup for the Cavs in some areas because of their shooting ability. So I don't think this will be a sweep. I'll give Indiana credit. I'll say this goes to a Game 6. I wouldn't actually be surprised if this goes to a Game 5, but I have Cavs advancing over Indiana.
I got Cavs in 7. I think this is...
Wow, you think this goes all the way to 7?
Yeah, Indiana has proven to be a problem for us. They took 3 out of 4 against us this season. Sorry. There we go.
Bless you.
Thanks. The Pacers have proven to be a problem for us this season. You got Miles Turner and Siakam, who have caused matchup problems against Allen and Mobley. Tyrese Halliburton has shown that he can turn it on. You got Ben Shepherd coming off the bench, Ben Mathurin, Aaron Neesmith, Andrew Nembhard. They've got a lot of good pieces. So Indiana is not just going to go away. We're going to have to put them away. And I think this series goes to a Game 7. I really do.
I think Indiana is Cavs light, where they have the pieces. They're very similar built to Cleveland. They just don't have the top end talent that Cleveland does. And that's my takeaway. That's why I think that it only goes 6. This may shock you. I have the Celtics sweeping the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks match up well with Boston at all. I don't think they can shoot. I don't think they have the depth. I think they will be worn out by the second round. And I don't know if any of these games are even particularly close.
Well, I hope that's not the case, because if we make it to the conference finals, I want Boston to not necessarily be injured, but be a little bit roughed up in the series with the Knicks. So I hope it's not a sweep. Granted, I have the series between us and the Pacers going to a Game 7, but still, I'm hoping the series between the Knicks and Celtics goes to at least a Game 6. I'm hoping so.
Is that your prediction?
No. So again, that's what I'm hoping for. But Boston has shown that they're just a better team. The Knicks have not shown the ability to beat the Cavs or the Celtics. So I'll go with Celtics in 5, but I'd love for it to go 6, maybe 7, so that the Cavs can take advantage of that in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. This is the matchup we've all been waiting for, obviously. It's the matchup we both picked. Number 2, number 1, Celtics Cavs. I actually think that home court advantage matters most in the NBA than it does in all the other playoffs, and that's mostly because the fans are right on top of you there in that arena. It gets loud, it gets crazy, and I think that this series goes 7. It is my it's my one and only prediction for a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference, and I think that this series gets to 7, not necessarily by both teams holding home court. I can see both teams stealing a game on the road between games 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we go back to Cleveland tied 2 games apiece, and then each team will win game 5 and game 6 on their home court. I think this series comes down to the fact that the Cavs have a healthy Jared Allen that they did not last year. I think Jared Allen's rim protection is a big difference against Kristaps Porzingis, who, even though he can shoot, is not a great rim protector. I think as the playoffs go on, guys like DeAndre Hunter, Max Strus, who was huge in that Miami series a couple years ago when they made their run to the finals, even a kid like Sam Merrill, even a guy like Dean Wade. I think those guys gain confidence as the series goes on. I think that is the difference in the series. The Cavs' physicality, the Cavs' willing to go inside, the Cavs' ability to defend the three-point shot, where Boston will be too reliant on the free, and it will be their downfall. And for the 7th consecutive year in the NBA, the team that won the NBA championship last season does not make the NBA Finals. Cavs in 7.
This is the series we've all wanted. Jesse, he knows this. He's a Celtics fan. I've interacted with him. I'm in his Discord server with a bunch of Boston Celtics fans. He knows it. They all know it. This is the series we want. If we do not get Cavaliers Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, it is a major disappointment.
Something will go horribly wrong for either team.
Yes. If for example, it's Pacers Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, there's
no way they both. I'll bet every ounce of money in my bank account that both of them will not make it. There's no way.
I'm just saying if it's that series. I'm not saying it will be.
Oh, I'm just saying there's no way there's an if. That's a 0% shot.
Or if it's Cavs, Knicks, for example, that's a major disappointment because these 4 games between the Cavaliers and the Celtics have been fantastic. I hold a sports grudge against the Celtics. And the only way my grudge will be relieved is if we defeat them this season in the Eastern Conference Finals. That is the only way. If we lose, the grudge continues. God, there's so much you could talk about with this series. There really is. I could go on and on. There's no way the road team isn't going to win 1 or 2 games in this series. I could see Boston winning possibly game 2 and game 5 in Cleveland, and the Cavs winning game 4 and game 6 in Boston. I think that's kind of how it's going to go. I got Cavs in 7. I think game 7 being in Cleveland is what makes the difference. I know Boston has been a better road team, but Cleveland being at home, game 7, I feel like in that scenario, all the pressure is on Boston to get back, to go into Cleveland and defend your Eastern Conference championship.
I actually disagree with that because I think if there's a game 7 on your court, the pressure's on you to defend it. You've earned that home court advantage. Now go defend it. Okay. Even if you're going up against the defending champions.
Interesting.
No.
I get your viewpoint on that, but like Boston is the defending champs. The pressure's on you to go on the road, silence the home crowd, show why you won the championship.
Yeah, there's certainly arguments to be made with both. Okay, let's go to the West now. Listen, I'll just start here. 1-8. I think Oklahoma City sweeps Memphis. I don't think it matters. Whoever, by the way, if it's Golden State, they probably sweep Golden State too, because I don't think Golden State matches up well with Oklahoma City. I think the Thunder will, at least early in this postseason, look to show people why they are a 68-win basketball team. I don't know if any of these games against Memphis will be close. They could all be won by 10 or 15 points.
So I was in OKC for the game against Memphis. They were without John Morant. And the Grizzlies found a way to keep it close for most of the game. Granted, they still had Taylor Jenkins in what turned out to be his final game as their head coach.
Yep.
But OKC then in like the fourth quarter, they just blew it open and ended up winning 125-104. The Thunder will have the two best players on the court in SGA and Chet Holmgren. And yeah, I got OKC sweeping. This is my first sweep of the playoffs.
Okay, let's go then to the 7v2 matchup, which this is my upset of the playoffs. I was back and forth on this. I debated it. It is the veteran versus the youth. And we don't know yet what the status of Jimmy Butler's knee injury is that he suffered late in overtime of that game against the Clippers. If it is more serious than I believe it will, that gives Houston an advantage. But I go back on this. I like the Rockets a lot. They had a great season. I did predict them to be the Thunder of this year. You talk about your Indiana prediction. That was my biggest right of the whole year, was I predicted the Houston Rockets to be in this position. I like Ahmed Thompson. I think he's going to be a really good superstar-ish player one day. I like Sengun. He's going to be a very good player one day. I think Jalen Green is going to be a good player someday, but I think out of the three of them that I just mentioned, he's probably third on the list of options right now. I know Houston a couple weeks ago held Steph Curry to 3 points. I actually think that was Houston showing too much in their hands of a regular season game. I think Golden State will be ready for it. They will counter it. And I think at the end of the day, in this series specifically, Steph and Jimmy Butler, if healthy, are probably the two best players in the series. I think Golden State can steal one in Houston and hold serve at home and win it in 6.
This series is such a toss-up for me because this is the series that I'm first round series where I'm kind of the most wishy-washy on, because I could make an argument for Golden State, but I could also make an argument for Houston. I've been going back and forth on this series. I want the story with the Rockets to continue. I really do. But Steph is the greatest shooter God has ever created. We'll see how not having Klay Thompson there affects him this postseason. I do think that we will see that shortage, if you will, or loss. But ultimately, I do think Houston outlasts Golden State. I have this series going Game 7.
Okay, and that's our first real difference. And I think if it goes, what this series sort of reminds me of, though I think Houston has better talent, is the series a couple years ago when Golden State beat Sacramento, where it was like Sacramento had a very good team, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, but Golden State had the veteranness, and they were just able to outcoach and outlast barely Houston. Now, I think Ime Udoka's or Sacramento. I think Ime Udoka's done a good job with Houston. Again, I could see them winning this series. My issue with it, though, is I think history will tell you veteranness wins in the playoffs more than youth.
Yes, I understand that sentiment, but the thing is that, like, kind of like what I was saying about the Pistons against the Knicks, they don't know any better. So in that sense, I would kind of say, going back to that Pistons-Knicks series, the pressure is on New York.
And without a doubt is on New York. Like the pressure here is on Golden State.
And that's exactly what I'm getting at.
But correct. When you get veteran teams in the playoffs, when there's a difference between having a tight game in the regular season and a tight game in the postseason. And I think if Golden State didn't have Jimmy Butler, I would take Houston. I think the fact they have Steph and Jimmy, and Houston doesn't really have that go-to guy that's been there and done that yet, is the difference. If Houston was in the playoffs last year, I probably would take Houston. They just haven't done it yet.
And no, that's totally valid. Plus, you do have playoff Jimmy, but
last year Jimmy was horrible in the playoffs. We got to see it again. I mean, I'm going based off. I think Steph Curry can win you the A game in the series to tilt the tide.
Okay, and I could see that, but the thing with Golden State is, who else are they going to get production from other than Steph?
I think Buddy Hield, you'll see, have a big series. I think he will be one of the keys, and I actually think Pods will give you a lot of good production. A Pod strike, the fact that Steve Kerr plays him over Kuminga and these other guys tells me he thinks Pods is ready for the postseason.
That's my biggest reason why I'm taking Houston, is because I don't know if I can trust Golden State's supporting cast. I know what I'm going to get from Steph, usually. I know what I'm going to get from Jimmy around this time of year. But I'm not sure what I'm going to get from the others. And come postseason time, I get it. A lot of it comes down to that superstar type player. But it's also that supporting cast. And I just have a lot of questions about Golden State's supporting cast right now.
LeBron and Luka against Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. And after Minnesota had so much promise at the end of last year, they were the 3 seed. They knock off the defending world champions. They get to the Western Conference Finals. Then it becomes Anthony Edwards' team, and they make the trade for Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle. And while they are playing really good basketball right now, I think Anthony Edwards is going to become too reliant on his jumper in this series. And theoretically, Minnesota has the height advantage because we all know the Lakers don't have a center, and Rudy Gobert could dominate the series. But I don't think Rudy Gobert knows how to dominate anybody. And there is no disrespect to Anthony Edwards here. I think the 2 best players and 3 out of the 4 best players of this series, which includes Austin Reeves, is on the Lakers. I got the Lakers in 6.
Man, this is another one where you kind of get flashbacks to last season because you got Ant going against Luka, and who was it that went into Minnesota and dominated?
That's the key word, dominate.
And it was Luka. So I know Luka's in a different jersey, but is Ant gonna have that revenge on his mind? Is he gonna use that to fuel his team? Well, I believe so, but will it be enough? I don't think so. The Lakers have LeBron and Luka. The Timberwolves do not. What are you going to do? You put your best defender on Luka, and then you put your second and third best defenders on LeBron and Austin Reeves? Not really a recipe for success right there. I got Lakers in 6, like you.
Okay. This next series is going to be the battle of does coaching matter in the NBA or not? Because the Denver Nuggets have what, in my opinion, is the undisputed best player in the world, but their coach has been coaching the last 3 games of the season. And we don't know about Jamal Murray's health. And the Clippers have been playing hot. They've won their last 9 games. James Harden, along with number 2 Kawhi Leonard, has been out of this world. Norman Powell has had a career year. Zubac is doing great at protecting the rim. They have a great head coach, a championship-winning head coach in Tyronn Lue. Everything tells me the Clippers should win this series and probably win it in 6. But I don't trust the health of Kawhi Leonard.
Neither do I.
And I think somewhere down the line, he's going to bang knees with somebody and get banged up in this series. And Zubac is a good defender, but I don't know if he has the answer for Jokic. And I don't know if Jokic is going to get any help in this series. But I think Jokic could beat the Clippers by himself. And for that reason, I'm taking Denver in 7. I really don't know why. It's just a gut feeling that Jokic outplays Kawhi and Harden in the series, and that's enough.
That's the big thing. Kawhi could stub his toe and be out for 6 weeks. Like, we haven't seen Kawhi really go playoff mode since the 2019 Toronto Raptors. We haven't seen it with Kawhi because he's been injured. He's playing well. He looks healthy. But can I trust it? I don't know. But here's the thing. I really like the way James Harden and Norman Powell are playing. And I think that's enough to offset what Jokic is going to do. And with Jamal Murray perhaps compensated health-wise, I'm giving the Clippers the edge in 6.
Okay. So I have Denver taking on Oklahoma City in what I believe will be a fantastic series. I think it's the battle of the 2 best players in basketball right now between SGA and Nikola Jokic. I think it's the battle between the 2 MVP frontrunners. I think SGA will win it, by the way. And I think that at the end of the day, the Thunder's youth, their bench depth is just too much for Denver to overcome. I actually think, again, it goes 7 games, but I like the Thunder.
So with Thunder Clippers, this is the series where I think Kawhi bows out because an injury will cause him to bail, and the Thunder take full advantage. And I'll give the Clippers 2 games without Kawhi because James Harden is capable of that. Although come postseason time, I'm not sure I trust James Harden either. And that's part of it. The Clippers just have too many question marks. They're able to beat Denver, but they bow out against the Thunder in 5.
So you have Rockets Lakers. I have Warriors Lakers. I think this is where Golden State bows out. I think this is where Jimmy Butler struggles. His playoff history against LeBron is he has struggled. I don't think Steph can carry Golden State as much as I think they can match up with LA with their shooting. I think the Lakers I think Austin Reeves being that 3rd level scorer, being that 3rd guy that can handle the ball, along with the likes of LeBron and Luka, and they got some other guys out there on the wing as well. I think that this Lakers team is set up to go head to head with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the WCF. Give me Lakers in 6.
So like you said, you have Warriors Lakers. I have Rockets Lakers, which would give the Rockets home court advantage. But I do think the Lakers are capable of going into Houston and winning a game on the road. However, I think the Rockets are capable, even with their youth, they're capable of going into LA and beating the Lakers. So I have this series going to a game 7 in Houston, but I'm not counting out LeBron and Luka, even on the road in a game 7. Give me Lakers in 7.
Oh, you set up. That was a nice tease. I thought you were going Houston in 7. So good job by you. So we agree then on both conference finals. We both have Celtics Cavs. We both have Lakers Thunder. Oklahoma City has had a great season, but I don't think it's meant to be. I think they're a year away. I think LeBron and Luka are on that mission to avenge the Luka Doncic trade from Dallas, And again, this may be hard overhead, but for me, this would be, and I'm not over exaggerating, this is what I want because I think it would be the greatest storyline in the history of the NBA Finals.
Yes,
Cavs, Lakers.
It certainly would be. Nah.
I had the Lakers in 6, by the way. I know I did not say that.
Okay. LeBron and Luka have been awesome together. And JJ Redick has done a great job coaching. But even with their youth, OKC looks like they're out to prove people like you wrong and show that they are, in fact, ready to take that last step. This is their second straight year being the number 1 seed. I think they learned from losing that series last year against Dallas. They're not going to have to deal with the total mismatch because the Lakers don't have a big. I think Chet Holmgren can take advantage of that. Even if he doesn't necessarily play down low, the fact that he's a big who can step out and shoot, I think will make the difference. Yes, I'm saying Chet Holmgren will make the difference, though SGA is the top player for OKC. I got Thunder in 7.
Okay, so we have a lot of game 7s out west. Again, I think the West is going to be an absolute war. Unlike the East, where I think one series will be a war. You think Indiana gives the Cavs a better fight than I do. But the NBA has not had a game 7 in the NBA Finals since our Cavs and Golden State Warriors went at it in 2016. I do think whether it's Lakers Celtics, whether it's Lakers Cavs, whether it's Celtics Thunder, whether it's Thunder Cavs, this is their best shot to have a game 7 in years. And so for my finals, it would take place in Cleveland. I predict it will be a game 7 in Cleveland. And I think the Cavs will, at the end of the day, be having a parade on East 9th Street because the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by who will be the NBA Finals MVP, and his name is not Donovan Mitchell. His name is Evan Mobley, who will arrive in these playoffs and will undoubtedly, in my opinion, may become a top 10 player in the NBA by the time these playoffs come and pass. I think this is Evan Mobley's dominant postseason, and I think that the Cavs raise the Larry O'Brien trophy.
Man, I so badly want to pick the Cavs, but OKC has been so good at home. And when we played them in OKC, we got absolutely KO'd. And I saw how good the Thunder are on their home court. God. I genuinely, this is another series where I'm like, I don't know. I really don't. I want to be a homer and pick the Cavs. I really do. I kind of want to go with OKC, though. It feels like SGA takes that next step and puts OKC over the top, and they get their first championship in franchise history. I'll say OKC in 7. I want to pick the Cavs. I do. But I just think the Thunder having home court advantage and having game 7 in OKC makes the difference.
So there it is on the screen. There's our official NBA playoff predictions. I have the Cavs over Lakers in 7. You have the Thunder over Cavs in 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. If the Thunder do win the championship, my guess would be SGA would win MVP.
Yes.
And I have Evan Mobley for Cleveland, who, again, no disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, but I have realized here over the past few weeks, I kept saying before, for Cleveland, it didn't matter if Darius Garland or Evan Mobley between 2 and 3, who was their second best player. I've changed my opinion on that. I think it does matter. I think Evan Mobley is better than Darius Garland at this point, and I think Evan Mobley may become the best player by the time the finals end. Preseason, I had Oklahoma City over Boston, so I will not be the worst man in the world if that came to pass, because it would prove my early preseason prediction right. But I think as the season goes on, to me, with all the changes in the postseason, I really think Cavs Lakers. I could see the Thunder definitely, but I think the Cavs are just a tiny bit better than Boston.
If it is Cavs Lakers, the NBA would excuse my French here, but the NBA would shit itself from just pure excitement.
The weird thing is everybody's talking about the dream matchup between Boston and LA, and I think I get it, the history of the big markets. I don't think people have connected the dots yet, even in this city, that the Cavs Lakers are a possibility.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But we got to get over to what is the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, because from Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, home of the NFL's Las Vegas Raiders, I believe it's WrestleMania, but SeaBoss, as we bring you in, you said this in our Discord server, and I'm just going to say it right from how you said it, so excuse me for stealing your thunder here, but to basically sum it up, you looked at Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite, and you're like, how is this better than what we're getting at WrestleMania? And dude, I have to agree with you. Like, SeaBoss, you're telling me we get Konosuke Takeshita versus Will Ospreay on free TV. We get Hangman Page versus a wild card. I'm guessing it's Jack Perry.
My guess is right now Eddie Kingston.
That would be awesome. But you're telling me we get the Death Riders, which I've loved that story, against Hook, Samoa Joe, and Shibata. And we get Mercedes Moné against Athena. And then over at WrestleMania, let's see. We get Rey Mysterio against El Grande Americano. No. Go away. Go over there. That
El Grande Americano is just a ripoff of El Generico. Let's be real here.
Wait, and you're telling me at WrestleMania I get LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu? Oh, okay. That's
actually, I'm excited for that match because Jacob Fatu is a beast and LA Knight's good.
Okay, but you're telling me at WrestleMania I get AJ Styles versus Logan Paul? What?
Yeah.
What?
Kind of a waste of AJ Styles' talent.
Yeah. Wait, and here's the worst one. Lyra Valkyria and Bailey against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan for the tag team titles. What? No, give me Tiffany versus Charlotte all day. I'll take that. Give me the street fight. I'll take that. But you're telling me on Dynamite, I get Ospreay versus Takeshita, and at WrestleMania I have LA or AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Nah, give me Ospreay.
Give me Ospreay Takeshita all day.
Yes. I'm sorry, but as of right now, the WrestleMania card looks like a B+ level PLE, and that's being generous.
There are some matches to be hyped about. I am excited for Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. Those two always put on a show together.
And
I am excited for the I am excited for the triple threat Rollins, Punk, Roman.
I'm sorry, but that's the incorrect triple threat to be main eventing night one.
Speaking of that, I am excited for Rhea, Bianca, Io, because none of the three of them have ever had a bad Mania match.
And we know what Rhea and Bianca can do in the ring together. And you're telling me Io's going to be added to this? Hell to the yeah. You know this, though. Once Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton was taken off the card, my excitement overall for the show was taken way down.
Yeah. I hope Kevin is actually able to come back from this.
Yeah.
That 2 to 5 year recovery time, he's already towards the end of his career. This might have been it for him. And it's sad to say. Okay.
SeaBoss, you and I have had debates about who the GOAT is in WWE. But I will say this. The modern day GOAT, just modern day, I'm giving that award to Kevin Owens. I really believe that.
No.
His stuff is Even talking about before WWE, I have Kevin Owens high on that list from his stuff in Ring of Honor and PWG.
The modern day GOAT is the Tribal Chief, guys. It's not even a conversation. 2010 on, Roman Reigns the GOAT.
Kevin Owens has been awesome.
He has. He's really good. It's like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. They're very good. They're not Patrick Mahomes.
Wait, SeaBoss, who did you say?
Seth Rollins. I'm putting him in that conversation.
I think it's Roman and Seth, and I think Roman's resume tops Seth.
God, I can't discount Kevin Owens. I can't. Like, his feud with Cody Rhodes was awesome. Everything he's done with Sami.
Anyone, or every feud Kevin Owens has ever had since stepping foot in the WWE has been nothing short of amazing.
Yes.
The feud with Seth at Mania 36. The feud with Sami at Mania 37. The
Logan Paul got involved in that.
Yeah, took a stunner, which was awesome. The stuff with Stone Cold Austin at Mania 38. He got his moment with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And SeaBoss, you're highlighting exactly why, for me, Kevin Owens is the modern day GOAT.
I have to put him there. I wish he won more than just one world title.
Yes.
And that's why he can't be the GOAT. Now, also, Josh, what do you consider modern day? What's the timeline to start that?
I'm guessing 2010 to now.
Yes.
Because if you're doing that, you got to make a case for Cena, too.
Cena, I'd say more 2000s.
If you're talking like overall GOAT in WWE, yes, you had to put Cena in the conversation.
Kurt Angle.
Yes, you had to put Kurt Angle in the conversation, but for me, it's Randy Orton.
No one had every single tool in wrestling more than Kurt Angle. He had the accolades. He had the promo skills, the in-ring work, comedy work, character work. He could work with just about every single wrestler on the WWE roster and make a 5-star player out of them.
And TNA, by the way.
And TNA, of course. And if you guys have seen it, his stuff in New Japan briefly was really good as well.
I'll be honest with you, I never knew he worked in New Japan.
Yep, he was a IWGP Heavyweight Champion for a while. Won it off of Brock Lesnar because Brock refused to work in Japan.
All right, guys. Shall we get to start previewing these matches? So some of the stuff you guys said earlier, I agree with. Some of it I don't agree with. We'll get into it as we get into these matches. Let's start with the big one, right? Night 2, main event. Cody Rhodes, the Cody Crybabies, the American Nightmare, defending his year-long title reign against a heel John Cena, who, SeaBoss, I don't think you were with us. I think the last time you were here was right before the Royal Rumble. Josh can attest to this. I predicted right before the Elimination Chamber that John Cena was going to win the Chamber and turn heel. I thought that it was the right direction to go. I'm all for this. I think it's going to be a match filled with shenanigans. I think The Rock's going to come out. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to come out. I think Travis Scott's going to come out. It could turn into a Bloodline rules match down the line somewhere in this main event. I do think that John Cena is going to win his 17th World Championship, but it is not for the reason that you all think. I'll get into that in a little bit later.
All right. So, as far as the Cena heel turn thing is, I was stunned. In that moment, I was caught completely off guard. I was like, did they just turn John Cena heel? What? How? Why? But it has led to some incredible storytelling, and I think they can build off of this. I do think John Cena captures number 17 here and holds it all the way on till the end of the year where he puts over an up-and-coming babyface.
So, the funny thing is, in his first promo, since after turning heel, he said, "I am not a heel. I am not a babyface. I am a human being." So that's how I'm going to refer to him. He's not a heel. He is just the human being, John Cena. Cody has really had to carry this feud because Cena hasn't been there for a lot of these shows. And I think that's hurt the story a little bit. But Cody's cut some great promos, so I'll give him his credit. My biggest problem, though, is I feel like they haven't fully captured the momentum and the heat of what happened at Elimination Chamber. That third promo battle they had where they mentioned Vince McMahon, they mentioned Tony Khan. That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that. But some of their other promo battles left a little bit to be desired for me. When Cody was mentioning Stardust and all of that, it was okay. Didn't quite hit for me. So this feud, it's been a little bit. It hasn't quite met the level I thought it was going to. I'll say it like that. It hasn't been terrible. That's not what I'm saying. It's still been really good, just not quite at that great level. Outside of that promo battle where they mentioned Vince and Tony Khan, but you can't have a moment like they had at Elimination Chamber and not culminate it with Cena winning the title. It feels like you have to go all the way through with it and give Cena the title.
So I actually think in some ways the night 2 main event could be connected to the night 1 main event.
Oh, you told me about this theory you have.
So, Josh, I've actually changed my theory on this based on the last couple of weeks. So, SeaBoss, I had 2 different theories on this. The first one I had was I did not think that they were going to announce the favor of Paul Heyman, being in Punk's corner. I thought that was going to be part of the reveal at Mania, was Heyman turns on Roman, joins Punk wins, but then it's also revealed that the favor is CM Punk gets a world title match at WrestleMania. He inserts himself into the main event in night 2, screws over both Cena and Cody, and wins the title. I am now off that theory, Josh, based off the promos that have been made and based off the announcement they made where Heyman is going to join CM Punk in his corner at WrestleMania. I actually think Paul Heyman is going to not only screw Roman Reigns, but he is screwing CM Punk as well. He is aligning himself with the visionary Seth Rollins, who's going to win this match. And then, if you guys remember, in February, when Seth Rollins told Cody Rhodes right before the Elimination Chamber, he said, "Don't make me regret helping you win the Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania 40. Well, who helped John Cena, if you will, indirectly win the Elimination Chamber? Seth Rollins, by curb stomping CM Punk. I think with Paul Heyman's connection to The Rock, obviously, in the bloodline and the whole story, on night 2, when everything looks like Cody Rhodes about to defeat John Cena, when everybody's been laid out, Seth Rollins comes from behind, curb stomps Cody Rhodes' head into the mat, and helps John Cena. And we get the new corporate power of Seth Rollins, John Cena, the final boss, and Paul Heyman. And that's how the night 1 main event connects to night 2. And we get Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes feuding throughout the spring while John Cena is away with the Undisputed Championship.
So the only reason I disagree with that is because of how Raw went off the air last night. It was Seth Rollins standing tall. Typically, that means he is not going to win. At least that's the usual trope in wrestling. WWE could buck the trend and go with Seth, but I can't see it. If I had to guess, they're gonna give it to Punk, and down the line they'll have Punk and Cena feud probably at SummerSlam, and that's where you do the title change. I don't think Cena's gonna hold the title for a full year. I think he goes until SummerSlam, and that's where Punk wins it.
I could agree with you there. I think they're going to start the title feud at Money in the Bank because of the famous Money in the Bank match from 2011, which I believe Money in the Bank this year was confirmed to be in Chicago.
No, it's going to be in the Intuit Dome in LA.
Ah, okay. I was thinking because 2011 Money in the Bank was in Chicago, because they could do that Cena Punk thing. But I actually think Roman is going to win. I think there's going to be a big I think Seth and Punk are going to be too distracted with their hate for each other that Roman is going to steal away the win and get Paul Heyman back.
See, I feel that way too. It could go down based on the way Roman shoved Paul Heyman, and we all know that Paul Heyman always likes to pull a ruse. So I don't think Heyman walks out of this with Punk. But my feeling on it is, I think one of the SummerSlam, because remember, guys, don't forget, SummerSlam's 2 nights this year.
Yep.
So we need main events for both nights. I think the main events for SummerSlam, one of them will be Roman Reigns and CM Punk one-on-one, and the other will be a rematch from WrestleMania for the Undisputed title, where Cody actually gets the belt back from Cena, and it starts Cena's arc of him slowly turning back into a babyface.
Okay.
I could see it. I don't know if it goes that quick. Because I get it. They're trying to turn SummerSlam kind of into that summer WrestleMania show, I guess, if you want to call it that. But it feels too quick of a turnaround to have Cody take the title right back from Cena. I don't know.
All right, shall we move on to, Josh, one of your most exciting matchups that you said you think should main event night 1, but it's actually happening on night 2. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair for the Women's World Championship. So
yes, this match should be main eventing night 1. I'm sorry, the wrong triple threat is main eventing. I get this history with Paul Heyman and all that, but Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair, if it weren't for Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, because I said that was going to be the match of the weekend, now this is going to be the match of the weekend. They are going to absolutely tear the house down.
I think they'll be good. I don't think this is match of the weekend. I think that it could be 3rd or 4th. I think the 2 main events will top it. But to be honest with you, I disagree on you that this shouldn't main event. I think that Roman, Punk, and Seth, I don't think anybody could follow them. And you're not going to put them on the same night as Cena and Cody. I think that match will go longer than Cena and Cody. I think it's like a 45, 50-minute with entrances. I think it's cinema. Like, I think there's going to be so much storytelling in that match, nothing can follow it.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. As for the women's triple threat, I do believe that this is going to be a barn burner type match. It's going to be very interesting with 2 powerhouses and then a high flyer. You know, we're definitely going to get an over the moonsault. We're definitely going to get everyone hitting their finishers. But who comes out of this the winner? Well, the only one who's undefeated at WrestleMania, I have Bianca Belair winning.
Josh, I'll let you go because I think you know where I'm going with this.
First of all, I thought it was hilarious that Adam Pearce said, Rhea Ripley representing the Judgment Day. Yeah. She hasn't been in the Judgment Day for over a year. What are you doing, Adam Pearce? That was hilarious. I could see any of these three women taking home the title. Rhea was awesome as champion. And I love how they've treated Io in this story. That's no disrespect to her, but like Bianca and Rhea are so focused on each other. Io's like, hey, don't forget me. And they just keep pushing her aside. But I'd love to see.
Oh, did Josh just freeze?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, while we wait for Josh, let me go ahead and give my prediction for this match. So I have said that when Jade turned on Naomi in Elimination Chamber, I didn't like it because I thought that Bianca Belair should have been the one to attack Jade. The fact that Bianca won the Elimination Chamber and then went away from Jade and Naomi, the whole storyline, I didn't think made any sense. Well, I actually think that Naomi is going to help Bianca Belair win this match. After Naomi loses to Jade Cargill on night one, I think she is going to come out to the ring. Bianca's going to act like, she hates her. They're going to get distracted, all that. Then Naomi is the one that helps Bianca win the title. I think this will be the WrestleMania of heel turns. I think Bianca Belair turns heel, aligns herself with Naomi, reveals that she, along with Naomi, was the one that attacked Jade Cargill because she was jealous of Jade Cargill taking her spotlight. And the Women's World Championship match at SummerSlam will be Bianca against Jade when Jade finally gets her moment.
Okay. I actually had predicted the opposite. I had Jade being the one to help Bianca, strengthening their bond before it's eventually revealed that Bianca was the mastermind behind Jade's attack.
Okay, I got you.
Because I do think Bianca told Naomi to attack Jade.
Yes. Which I think that then has to be revealed. By the way, I was just checking my phone. Josh said he wants internet, so we'll see if he'll be able to rejoin us or not. I'll keep tabs on it. To me, Rhea winning makes no sense, right? Because you're not going to have her lose the belt and then hot shot it back for a month. It sort of felt like this was a way to get Io on the card because she didn't have a lot to do, and I think they went for sort of the surprise title change. I wouldn't have minded Rhea and Bianca one-on-one myself, but I think Bianca's been showing a different side of her. She's been wearing black, which oftentimes has obviously
represent a heel turn.
So, yeah. So, I think that Naomi helps Bianca. I think there is a heel turn. And welcome back to you, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, my internet cut out. So, that was the issue. I'm assuming you're talking about Naomi and Jade, or are you still on the triple threat?
Sort of both, because I said, Josh, I think Naomi actually helps Bianca win the triple threat. And I think that Bianca turns heel. It is revealed that she and Naomi both attack Jade, and the SummerSlam match is Jade and Bianca for the Women's World title.
So, to finish what I was saying, SeaBoss, I agree with you that Bianca wins the title, but not through clean means. I think this is when she turns heel, and she does it with like a chair shot to the back of Rhea, maybe something like that.
But that's legal in the match, so how do you have a heel turn like that?
Triple threat.
Oh, yeah.
Chair shots are legal.
That's why I
think that Jade's going to help her.
Out something.
I'm trying to think of like a heel tactic that you could use in a triple threat.
It'll be helping Bianca win, because that's why these two matches are separate in night one and night two. Because Naomi's going to get beat night one by Jade, and you're going to let Jade go over. And then eventually, like I said, it's revealed that Bianca and Naomi were in cahoots on the Jade attack the whole time.
Yeah, I had it a different way with like Jade helping Bianca win, thinking that, they're still friends and all that. And then after the match, Bianca turns on her.
I like that too.
I do. I could also see Rhea winning the title again. I really could.
I don't. I think if you
The
had
only reason I don't see it is because why would you take the title off of her in the first place?
Yeah, I
just to
was. It
give
was
back
literally
to
just
her?
to get Io on the card, which then
That's
sorry
a huge
makes
waste
no
of
sense.
Io. To have her lose
So-
the title to the person she won it from a month after she won it.
What could happen is here. Think about this for a second. Maybe Io retains the title because Bianca and Rhea are too focused on each other.
That could
That
happen.
was my other option, but I was like, it wouldn't make sense to have Bianca lose her streak here.
Unless
Yeah.
she doesn't get pinned. Then
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
well, she lost, but
But she wasn't pinned.
Yeah.
That's another smart one.
Yeah, you could have Io pin Rhea again, and then that leads to some type of
here's
match
the
at,
thing, though.
at
Rhea does
SummerSlam.
not lose Queen. When's the last time Rhea Ripley lost a match Queen? Because even when she lost the title, it wasn't Queen. Bianca got involved.
She lost fairly. Oh, I was about to say SummerSlam to Liv Morgan, but then I remembered that Oblivion was on a chair.
And
Yep.
Dom got involved with the interference.
Yep.
Okay, well, speaking of women, let's move to the other women's title match between Tiffany Stratton, the champion, Charlotte Flair. And I think Josh accidentally exited out. We know obviously the promo battle that happened a couple weeks ago went completely off the rails. But with that being said, I was talking to my one buddy, and I thought he made a great point where it's like they're trying to make Tiffany Stratton clearly the face in this match, obviously, but then she's also running away and out of the ring, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm kind of 50-50 on this. It really depends on what direction they want to go. I just think from a perspective of Charlotte's been the champion a lot, I think that WWE, had wanted Charlotte to be more cheered than she was. Not necessarily a face, but more of a tweener when she came back as opposed to a real heel.
Oh, no, I disagree with that. I think WWE wanted her to be the baby face, and the crowd just wasn't having it.
And so, for that reason, I think Tiffy retains here.
I 100% Tiffy should retain. I am not the biggest fan of Charlotte Flair. I never really liked her. I don't like the way that she doesn't put talent over, like Asuka, for example, at Mania 34. That one put me completely off to her, and I just think that I just don't like her. And I like Tiffany Stratton. I think she is a phenomenal wrestler. I didn't like her at first, but then when she started feuding with Becky Lynch over the NXT title a couple years ago, it really made me want to see more of her. And I was like, she's a future champion in this company on the main roster. And she became champion. I think she continues that reign here 100%.
I want to agree with what you guys are saying, but WWE loves to go back to the Queen, and I think they'll turn this into a trilogy, which Tiffany will ultimately win, but Charlotte goes over here, unfortunately.
Okay. What do we think about what I think could be one of the best matches on the card on Sunday? The Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship between Braun Breaker, who I think Carlito might have died if he didn't show up last night on Raw to that spear a couple weeks ago, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and then obviously Penta. I think this is where officially the Judgment Day breakup begins to happen. And I don't think that, I know Penta lost a couple weeks ago, but it was more of a dirty finish. I don't think you want to see Penta take the Queen lost here. I think Braun Breaker is going on to bigger and better things, so I don't think he takes the pin here. I actually think the Judgment Day breakup is official when Dirty Dominic Mysterio pins his teammate Finn Balor and wins the Intercontinental Championship.
which will cause Braun Breaker to absolutely blow a gasket. And it will be hilarious because I think Dirty Dom will be celebrating with the title, and then boom, he gets speared right out of his shoes. And it'll be freaking hilarious.
I disagree with that because I think the big moment will be Dom officially turns on Finn.
I have this kind of the opposite.
Okay.
So I think Dirty Dom will be a champion in this company one day. He will. He will have his singles title moment. But I think with all the times that Finn Balor is just taking the pin, he's gotten the nickname Pin Balor, I think he wins. I think Finn Balor wins the title. He pins Dom. And we finally get we get the Judgment Day breakup no matter what. But I will say this: Finn wins, but he loses. He wins the title, but loses the Judgment Day. They kick him out because he pinned Dom. He could have pinned Penta. He could have pinned
I
Braun
like that,
Breaker,
actually.
but he chose to pin Dom, and the Judgment Day didn't like that.
That makes sense. I can totally see that happening. I don't know. I just think Dom. I feel like you know what? You might be right though, because if we're right that Cena is going to win on night 2, and I think a lot of heels are more than likely, and if I'm right about Bianca turning heel, that may be too many heels to win in one night. So maybe they do Finn winning here.
Yeah, and then turn him face. I wouldn't necessarily say have him join up with Damian or Rhea. Let's not run that out.
No, don't do that.
But have him be a babyface. And if he needs backup, well, there's former Bullet Club members in WWE that you can use for backup. There's AJ Styles. There's the Guerrillas of Destiny. I would say the Good Brothers, but they left. Actually, I think the Young Bucks just teased that the Good Brothers are going back to New Japan.
Yeah, the Young Bucks basically said, hey, Good Brothers, we're going to team up with you to take on the War Dogs.
Yep. They didn't frame it that way. They were like, we've got a couple of OG friends.
Yes.
That we're going to use to help with the War Dogs.
Yeah, which, by the way, I loved when the Good Brothers were with the Elite. It was so funny.
Since I'm an OG Bullet Club fan, I've known all about the Good Brothers since they formed, and they're just never put on a bad match over there in Japan.
I also loved them with AJ Styles in the OC, but nonetheless, though, in terms of this fatal 4-way, it's gonna end with Dom pinning Finn or Finn pinning Dom. I don't see Breaker or Penta factoring into the pin. I feel like the outcome they're going to go with is Dom pinning Balor.
What about the Yeet Man here, guys? I think this is going to kick off night 1 of WrestleMania. I think we both kind of said it when it happened, when Jay won the Rumble.
Which I predicted. Thank you very much.
So we had 2 great calls. I called the Cena heel turn. Josh called it the Jey Uso winning the Men's Royal Rumble. Going into this, I was like, we just saw this Saturday night's main event. How are they going to make this different? And then Gunther beats the living hell out of Jimmy Uso and wipes his blood on his chest. And Gunther just makes anything work because he's freaking Gunther. I mean, he belonged in the wrong era because this dude is like the most classic vintage heel that you'll ever find. I think without a doubt here, this is the perfect night 1 opener. Jey Uso wins. There's no doubt in my mind. If Jey does not win this match to me, his character is completely dead.
Jey has to win, but it'll be interesting to see how Jimmy factors into this match, because even though Jimmy basically got killed by Gunther, like you said, I think he is going to factor into this match in some capacity. I'm not sure how, but the way Jimmy has inserted himself into this to give Jay that confidence, there's no way you can have this match and not include Jimmy in it in some capacity. You gotta have Jimmy in it, at least in my opinion. And I don't know, but Jay is going to win. Thanks somehow, some way to Jimmy Uso.
I agree with Jay winning, but I think it would be bigger to have Jay win clean.
Oh, I'm not saying Jimmy super kicks Gunther or does something. I'm just simply saying Jimmy getting involved in some capacity, whether it's him being dragging himself down and that inspires Jay, or he comes out and is how we see wrestlers on the outside just pounding, the ring apron trying to fire up.
So Jimmy being in Jay's corner.
Yes.
I could see that. I could reasonably see that.
But not right away. Jay is down and out, and it looks like all hope is lost. That's when Jimmy comes down and gives him a pep talk on the outside or something to reignite him.
Okay.
See, you know what I think is going to happen in this match is because Gunther is so filled with rage, right? He's so angry at Jey Uso. I can see a scenario where Jay is yeeting, everybody gets excited, and as he gets into the ring, Gunther doesn't even make an entrance. He attacks him from behind. He takes out Jay. Everybody thinks Jay is down. Then that's when Jimmy comes out, tries to get involved with Gunther, and the bell rings. Gunther goes for a quick move. Jay moves out of the way. Couple super kicks. Splash. Game over. Jay wins the title in official capacity in 2 to 3 minutes. I don't think this is a workhorse 20-minute match like they had at Saturday night's main event, because we just saw that a couple months ago, and we saw these two guys battle in the King of the Ring final in May. I think this is a very fast-paced finisher, bam, bam, splash, Jay wins the title type of match.
You're going with the Sheamus Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania. Was that 28?
Because that was
it was the semifinals. Okay, it was semifinals.
Yeah,
on Raw.
Randy Orton faced Gunther in the
final. No, you're right.
They played that whole thing up of Randy's shoulder was not on the mat when he got pinned.
And that led to their match at Bash in Berlin.
But yeah, I do think not so much Sheamus Daniel Bryan. That
was only 18 seconds.
But I think it's sort of that direction, right? Because I think that we already saw their match, like I said, a couple times where they've had these 20-minute bangers. Gunther is so filled with rage that I think he's going to try to put away Jay quickly, maybe a powerbomb or two, and it's a quick mistake that opens the door for Jay.
Okay.
Don't you think it's hilarious that, they always say the winner of the Royal Rumble will main event WrestleMania, and yet both of these matches are happening on night one, and neither of them are the main event.
Yeah, that's been a thing for a while, because you could go back and you can look at it and you could see this guy didn't main event WrestleMania. This guy didn't either.
Yeah,
I think outside of Cody, the last Royal Rumble winner to actually main event Mania was Edge.
Brock.
And that was night 2. Oh yeah, you're right. It was Brock after that.
Brock,
Rumble, WrestleMania 38.
Edge and Bianca both main evented.
Yeah, that was the last time. It was 2021. You're right.
2022, yeah.
Okay, how about the U.S. title? LA Knight, Jacob Fatu. I think this goes in two different directions, and I could see either one happening. One is Jacob Fatu just destroys poor LA Knight. He goes over, does his crazy moves. This match doesn't last too long. Jacob Fatu wins the U.S. title. The other direction they could go is Jacob Fatu is destroying LA Knight. He's beating him down, and Solo Sikoa gets involved, distracts Jacob Fatu enough that LA Knight can get a quick roll-up or even a BFT and LA Knight defeats Jacob Fatu, and you start, which I thought was going to be potentially a one-on-one WrestleMania match between Fatu and Solo Sikoa. The feud actually kicks off here post-Mania.
I agree with both of those things. I could see it going exactly like you said. Like I think if we're looking long term over short term here, if you want to do it the long term way, have LA Knight retain and have Solo and Jacob go off and feud with each other.
I don't think you want to take the title off of LA Knight after what was a terrible title reign from Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm not sure you want to just put the title on LA Knight just to take it off of him right away. Kind of like what you were saying about Rhea Ripley earlier. So,
well, I think there's a little difference here with Rhea and LA Knight, because in
taking
the one
title
situation,
right,
right,
you're trying to her, and then the other situation is, well, LA Knight's winning it off Shinsuke to give it to someone else.
Yes, and we're trying to build up Jacob Fatu. Originally, I thought it was a no-doubt slam dunk. When they first announced the match, I'm like, oh, Jacob Fatu is going to kill him. Jacob Fatu is going to win the title. But ever since, they've been doing more of this tease with him and Solo. And I think the fact that, and we'll get into this next, Josh, I disagree with you that Solo is going to be Randy Orton's opponent. I think it's going to be somebody else. And I think that Solo not having a match at WrestleMania seems weird to me if they're not doing something else with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Randy's opponent is going to be Nick Aldis.
See, I do. I think that's the match. I think that it's a one-off. I think they hotshot it, and I think it can lead to some fun little feud where Nick doesn't have to get back in the ring after this. But it's like, maybe Orton beats Nick Aldis clean, and then Nick Aldis has a vendetta against Randy, and he puts him in all of these matches. Because I think the Randy-Cody feud that we've all been wanting and expecting, it's going to happen at some point, just not now. I think they're both clearly in different storylines at this point. And I think that the Orton-Kevin Owens thing was always the plan, and I think you got to find somebody for Orton. And I think the fact that Orton directly told Aldis he could put his gear back on was a tell. That's who they're going to go with Nick Aldis. Again, I don't think it's anything crazy, but I don't think you hotshot a returning, maybe an Aleister Black or a Rusev or even Solo into a feud when you're trying to find a replacement, because the fact that Kevin Owens just wrestled at Elimination Chamber and they were building this feud up, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks away from Mania, he can't compete. I think it says something about Kevin Owens' injury that they won't even let him get through Mania when he's been working with this for months. And B, let's just find a spot for Orton at this point.
I think they saved Nick Aldis for like a UK show, because they want to give him that hometown feeling. That's what. Plus everything that's been happening with Orton and Solo. Like, for example, during that tag team match, Orton and Solo just went off into the crowd just brawling. And I don't think you do that unless that's the match at WrestleMania, which
it could be, but if that's the case, then Solo becomes Nick Aldis' enforcer. And Nick Aldis turns heel on. Like, Nick Aldis is going to get involved in this, whether he's wrestling or he handpicks Orton's opponent because he can't stand Orton because he RKO'd him.
Which I loved. Orton was like, I gave you the double payment in advance in case it happened. His character work has been great. And SeaBoss, I'm going to give you the fantasy booking I gave you on our other podcast. I know that WWE and AEW seem to be in their own separate worlds, but Randy Orton is going to bring the two together. How? On the SmackDown after WrestleMania, Randy Orton is going to get on the microphone and he's going to say, I know that Backlash is coming up in my hometown, But Kenny Omega, I see that shiny international championship over your shoulder. Triple H, Tony Khan, I'm coming to Dynamite to confront Kenny Omega.
Josh, are you at ayahuasca? There's 0% chance. I will bet you my life savings that doesn't happen.
I don't give a shit. I'm gonna, even if it's me fantasy booking, I'm gonna fantasy book the absolute shit out of it.
All right, SeaBoss, how do you see this going down?
I had seen a tweet from Sheamus. Sheamus is not on the WrestleMania card as of right now. Randy Orton can do an open challenge, or Nick Aldis can say, hey, I have a hand-picked WrestleMania opponent for you. I want it to be Sheamus. I want Sheamus to be on the Mania card. And Sheamus and Randy Orton, I don't know if they've ever had a match against each other, but I know one thing.
They did that whole feud in 2010, or were you not watching wrestling back then?
I wasn't really.
Okay, because they had a big feud for the WWE title. Sheamus was a massive heel. They had a match at the Rumble, then they had a match inside Hell in a Cell.
That had to have been a good Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, and it was 2010, so it was early PG era. For that era, I thought it was a very good Hell in a Cell match.
And this was before the Red Cell, too. Oh.
Yeah, it was the White Cell. It was at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And
I might have to go look up this match. This sounds like a banger.
Their match of the Rumble 2010 earlier that year was actually really good. That was when Sheamus was still a heel. And that was when they just turned Orton babyface because they were teasing the split of Legacy at the time.
Oh. Yeah, I think you could just run it back because, I mean, they have a habit of putting Sheamus up against legends. Look at Edge's final match in WWE. That was against Sheamus.
Yep, you're right.
So, just give Sheamus something to do at WrestleMania.
I like it. So this feud has been culminating for a year. It's going to be a Sin City street fight. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Drew hasn't won a feud in a long time. I kept thinking, this does feel like Drew could win. But in my opinion, out of both nights, night 2 is harder to predict the order of the card. I actually thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I think this match actually kicks off night 2 of Mania. And I think that when Drew ripped the necklace, or whatever you want to call it, off Priest this past Friday, the way he did CM Punk's bracelet, it signaled to me that Drew's just going to have this vendetta against people. And in my opinion, if you're going to have a heel go over last, you got to have a baby face like Jey Uso night 1 go over to start. So I think Priest actually goes over here and they go on their merry way after that. I don't know if this feud continues after a Sin City street fight, but I could be wrong.
This match is going to be so damn good. I've loved this feud, including Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. My top 3 feuds were Owens, Orton by a mile was number 1. Then what Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and number 3 was this. Because Drew and Damian, there was so much speculation that, no, this is not the feud that's going to happen at WrestleMania. But you could just tell from the way it was going that, yes, this is the match we're going with. And they have smashed this feud right out of the park. I love that it's a street fight. I thought they might go in the direction of like a Hell in a Cell type of match. And I could actually see it going to Hell in a Cell at Backlash. I really could. But I gotta ask, what is it with Drew McIntyre being obsessed with his opponent's jewelry? First it was CM Punk's bracelet. Now it's Damian Priest's bracelet. Like, dude, do you not have enough in your jewelry box or something? Like, if you want to go buy a necklace, if you want to go get a necklace, you don't have to take somebody else's. Just go to the jewelry store and buy yourself one. It's that freaking simple. That aside, though, I loved when Damian Priest Drew McIntyre looked like a freaking pirate. I kind of wish he had kept that eye patch on going into WrestleMania. I think it would have just been very entertaining. But I gotta go with Drew winning here, and the reason I'm saying that is actually I'm changing my pick for night 2 main event. I have Cody winning against Cena because it's gonna be Drew who ultimately takes the title off of Cody.
I have Damian winning, and it's just because Drew isn't focused. Drew is obsessed with petty revenge, and it has costed him against CM Punk. It's cost him against the Bloodline. It's cost him all this time, and it has costed him against Damian. And the longer he keeps this petty revenge quest on, the more it's going to keep costing him. Damian Priest, crucifix pins, Drew McIntyre.
Well, let me ask a couple questions here. Number one, what weapon is going to be used that represents Las Vegas?
Dice. If you haven't seen last year's AEW Double or Nothing in the FTW rules match between Chris Jericho and Hook,
Which that match was horrible.
or no, it's Katsuyori Shibata.
Yes.
Chris Jericho at one point poured a bunch of dice in the ring.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was a really, really unique spot. I think they could replicate that here.
I could see them using poker chips.
That's what I was gonna say. Something like a poker chip or something. I've also gone on a whim here, and I said I think that night 2 is a lot harder to book the order of the card, in my opinion, than night 1. I think that there is a couple options to open night 2, but I was looking at this card, and I'm going, there are a lot of multi-man matches on night 2, way more than night 1. And again, I think if Priest wins, because of all the destruction that's going to be at, and I anticipate the women's tag title match to go in spot 2, because that's, spot 2 is typically the least and most important match on the card, that I think this is a good spot to open night 2. And it's the same spot where Drew opened up last year against Seth, where Priest cashed in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it would be kind of ironic, or I think that's the right word, for Priest and Drew to open. But since you brought up the women's tag team titles, Liv Morgan was your freaking MVP of 2024 WWE. SeaBoss, I don't care.
Was she though?
Yes!
Was she though?
Absolutely.
One of the worst title reigns.
Io had a double worse title reign than Liv. Io did nothing with the women's championship.
Dude.
Absolutely nothing.
SeaBoss, I know you don't like Liv Morgan, but she was the MVP.
Well, I don't think he doesn't not hate Liv Morgan. Am I wrong on that?
Oh, no, I absolutely, I don't want to say hate. Hate is a strong word, but I think that she is a less talented, not at all charismatic knockoff of Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, you've told me that before. I the similarities in looks, obviously, outside of that,
and their wrestling style, they
similar,
wrestle
maybe
very
it's
similarly.
Same height though, too. They're very similar in size. Liv may be a little taller, but so Josh, I know where we're going with this. It feels like she should be in more of a high profile match, but where are you gonna put her on the card?
Yeah. That part is true, but at the same time, you're putting the women's intercontinental champion in a tag team title match. You couldn't have done, I don't know, Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria versus, who's that other one that should be on WrestleMania? What's her name? She was in Elimination Chamber. She was in the final 2 at Royal Rumble. Oh yeah, Roxanne Perez. What?
See, if you want my take on this, if you're going to be mad about this match, that shouldn't have been the other direction they would have gone, because I thought that would have been worse. to me, if you're going to be mad about this match, be mad about the fact that the SmackDown tag team titles are not on the Mania card.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
my
sorry.
takeaway.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but all 3 tag team titles, the Raw tag team titles, the SmackDown tag team titles, and the women's tag team titles have taken a giant collective shit.
No, I disagree on the SmackDown side because that's been very entertaining over there on the Blue brand. It's been one of the things they've gotten right since they went over to 3 hours. And I could make the only argument you can make about the World Tag Titles being on Mania is that it is the New Day, and if you want to cultivate the fact that this heel turn cultivates and them winning the tag team titles or Big E costing them the titles, that happens at Mania. So that is why I'm actually okay with that being on the card. The women's tag team title match being on the card, the only reason why this is on the card is because you're not going to leave Bayley and Liv Morgan off WrestleMania.
True.
Well, what? Okay, if that's the case, why not have the 2 of them go one-on-one at WrestleMania?
Because Liv
Morgan
Morgan's a
has a
champion.
Yeah, Liv Morgan has a title. Why not? Why have her not defend it? The women's tag titles haven't been defended at Mania since Mania 38, because of Mania 39 and Mania 40, they were the women's tag team champions were in 6-woman tag matches.
Which, by the way, I really enjoyed that with that 6-woman tag team match at Mania 39. Lita.
The Lita, Becky, Trish versus.
It was okay. It had a weird build to it with Trish obviously turning there afterward. I think the only match, guys, we have not gotten to, I could be wrong, but I think it is, let me double check here, is Logan Paul and AJ Styles. And Rey Mysterio and El Dragon Americano as well. I disagree with you guys on AJ Styles and Logan Paul. I think on night 2, I'm not saying it's going to be the best match, but I think they have a chance to steal the show.
No.
I know their story has not been great. Their segment on Raw last night I thought was fantastic. But when has Logan Paul and AJ Styles both ever had a bad match?
With Logan, I'd say his match against Cody at King and Queen of the Ring, I thought that match was just terrible. And it shouldn't have happened.
No, that match should not have happened. I thoroughly enjoyed his match with Seth Rollins. I thought that feud was fantastic. And they've completely dropped the ball.
Also, the Crown Jewel match with Rey Mysterio when he won the U.S. title, that was a horrible match.
Yeah, that match was terrible. AJ Styles.
I disagree with you guys. I don't think Logan's had a bad match since he's been in WWE.
AJ Styles is the definition of good match. Man does not know a bad match whether it be TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, or WWE, that man is a banger factory.
Okay.
Ironically, I think his worst
I will
match.
disagree with you a little bit. I thought his first match with Samoa Joe at Mania, or at Hell in a Cell, I'm sorry. I personally didn't really enjoy that match.
See, I think his 2 worst matches in WWE have both been at Mania. I think his first one, 32 against Jericho, I think is completely forgettable. Because I think that Mania, outside of one match, is completely
that
forgettable.
was a bad Mania from what I've been told.
See, I actually enjoyed that match between Jericho and Styles.
The other one, and it's ironic because he's my favorite, but I thought him and Edge at Mania 38 had a terrible match.
Oh, that I agree with.
I didn't think it was terrible, just forgettable.
I thought it was pretty terrible and forgettable, but like I said, his first match with Samoa Joe at Hell in a Cell, I did not enjoy that match.
I'm surprised you guys didn't bring up this stuff with James Ellsworth, because you'd think that'd be pretty bad.
See, I enjoyed it personally, but I'm more sports entertainment than professional wrestling fan.
The one I saw with Dean Ambrose being the special guest referee, I thought that was pretty entertaining.
See, I'm more of an entertainment factor, which why I don't even mind the Rey Mysterio, El Dragon Americano stuff. Like, I'm telling you, those guys are going to put on a banger. I would love it if it's revealed that Chad Gable is not El Dragon Americano.
See, I believe that they're going to do that fake out. It's going to be Julius Creed. That's who I have been predicting since this match was announced. Julius Creed's going to be the one revealed as El Grande Americano.
But if he was in the
to
ring
protect
last
Chad
night
Gable.
when El Dragon Americano came out, how could that be?
They're going to swap.
I guess you could, because in wrestling you throw all logic out the window. Yeah, I mean it would. Yeah, I mean I don't know. Maybe they get some random backstage crew guy.
Now is this a mask versus mask match?
No, it's
Just a match.
No.
Which
Okay.
what I think they are going to reveal. It's going to be somebody. It's not going to be Chad Gable, but I think the reveal has to happen here at Mania, which I think Ray's going to win.
Yeah. What I think they do is that the El Grande Americano who wrestles in the match is going to be Chad Gable, but there's going to be a spot where I guess they swap the mask onto someone else, and that's who it's going to, and then they're going to reveal it to, oh, it's not Chad Gable. And then Chad Gable, the real El Grande Americano, comes up from behind and rolls Rey Mysterio up to win the match.
Yeah, I guess.
It's going to be a silly comedy match, and I'm fine with that. I love a good comedy match. Danhausen is one of my favorite performers, and he is the king of comedy matches.
You don't strike me as a guy that I know Josh for sure is not.
No, I love a good comedy match. I mean, I'm a complete work rate guy. I love the independent scene. I love technical wrestling. I've gone on record saying that Zack Sabre Jr. is the best technical wrestler in the world, and I stand by that. But when it comes to comedy wrestling, I love that stuff. I love Orange Cassidy. I love Danhausen.
Orange Cassidy is awesome.
I think you need a good balance. I think you need a high work rate. I think you need a tag team good match. I think you need a comedy segment. Like
to have a complete show, you have to be able to mix every aspect of wrestling.
I completely agree with that.
I think AEW forgot about the comedy aspect of
it. No, Orange Cassidy still exists.
He's not around right now. I think he's injured, but
I mean, there's still comedy with Harley Cameron and Toni Storm.
Yeah.
She has a puppet of Mercedes Moné, and it is the most entertaining thing you will ever see.
Yes.
All right, guys. I think that's it. I think we've covered it all. Obviously, there's a lot of wrestling going on this week, not only in WWE.
Wait, we never covered Jade Naomi in full.
That's
okay. Well, I said Jade's gonna win.
I do think Jade goes over, but I have a little bit more to say about that. And I think Naomi is gonna spend the whole match trying to run away from Jade because Jade's all this power and whatnot. And it's gonna cost her big time.
See, you guys have Jade winning, but I think WWE's this is just the first step for Naomi as a heel. I think she's going to eventually take this to the Women's World Championship. I got Naomi winning here, and she continues this heel character until she is crowned champion.
That's a take.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's a good take. I don't know. The SmackDown Women's Division is weird, which is why I really don't care who wins Tiffy versus Charlotte because the depth of that division is not there, as opposed to the Raw side.
I agree.
So, all right, guys. Well, we know it's going to be a good weekend. Like I said, there's wrestling for WWE, other promotions as well. We're going to enjoy it. We'll be back next Tuesday in Championship Ring. SeaBoss, as always, thank you for joining us. Next week, Josh, we have the NFL Draft. We have WrestleMania 41 recap, and we have all things NBA playoffs. We are going to have an absolutely loaded show.
Plus, SeaBoss, you and I are going to be at Huntington Bank Field on, Saturday afternoon?
We are?
What's there?
Oh, I don't know if you're going. Never mind. Columbus Crew.
Oh.
Inter Miami. Lionel Messi coming to Cleveland.
Yeah, I knew that was happening, but I don't think I was invited.
Oh, sorry. We're ending on that note.
All right, guys. Have a good one.